There we go.
Hello, hello. All right, we are definitely recording. I see the red button.
Yes, it's been
Hello,
recording.
everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of Introverts, Extroverting. My name is Joseph P. Hutchinson, and I am here with.
Mr. Scary Teller, what's going on,
Uh,
people?
what's going on? What's going on? So, on this our second installment of this lovely podcast series, where we talk about basically whatever the fuck we feel like it. And if you don't like it, bye, Felicia.
Say goodbye.
Um, basically, yeah. We are discussing the latest sci-fi opera, supposed to be action adventure, sci-fi epic, Dune.
Dune.
Dune, aka Scary Teller's sleeping pill.
Yeah, sorry, people. I fell right asleep.
Which, I mean, we can't really blame him for that. I mean, it's one of those. It's a slow burner. It is a slow burner.
Very
Like this
slow.
joint I'm currently lighting. But what parts did you actually was it just completely for you, or was it more of a like you're just tired, like you know what I'm saying? Not trying to like grill you Barbara Walters style or not, but it's just curious.
For me, it's one of those things when you're like, okay, I'm gonna watch this movie. I'm gonna like this movie. Maybe I shouldn't have gone that far, but I turned it on and I'm like trying to pay attention. I'm laser focused, trying to pay attention, and like my ADD kicked in, and I'm looking off to the side. I'm like, what the hell are they talking about? And then I sat down, which then put my head down, and then my eyes closed, and that's all she wrote.
How long did you last? Like, where was what was the last thing you remember?
um, oh Lord. Let's see. I got through the beginning,
I
and
got through.
I remember marching, a lot of marching, and then I was out.
Oh god damn, that's funny. Not surprising, but funny. Um, the movie we're talking about is Frank Herbert's Dune. This is for the people that are tuned into this that found this random and have no history of what Dune is. Dune is a 7-part series, now more, but originally 7 parts, created by Frank Herbert. That basically took him like about 10 years to get together and all research and shit. But it's like Lord of the Rings. It has the book itself has an appendix in the back of it due to all the weird shit that's in the book. Um, I myself made it through the first viewing. I I as a Dune mega fan and like total stan, I didn't like it. As a nerd and a fan of like a popcorn flick or some shit like that, yeah, I liked it. It was up there with Last of the Mohicans for me. But as far as it being Dune, I can understand why I put you to sleep, Scary Teller. I really can. Like when they're fucking on Caladan and like that goddamn water port comes up. I don't know if you remember that part.
Maybe in and out of consciousness, but yeah, probably.
Like the movie had an un how to word this. I understand in transitioning from a book to a visual medium, like going across languages, stuff gets lost in translation. Besides the this is my artistic interpretation of this work and the direction that I would take it in because I am an artist. Fuck your artistic vision. This is motherfucking Dune. This is one of those properties where you walk in and you be like, go to the studio and be like, what do you want to do? And you hand them the book. Like, this is my script. We are doing this. But no. Instead, we got we got basically what we got was a high-end Michael Mann movie. I mean, it had the wide, gorgeous set pieces, gorgeous. I mean, it was a very beautiful movie. However, was boring as shit. And
bogged down with details.
Unneeded details.
Like, listen, no disrespect to the writer, director, producer, script, whatever. It was just too much.
Yes. And that, in my opinion, that's why Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings worked, because it gave you a lot of detail in small doses, spread out.
Yeah.
Dune, no.
Too much.
And not the right pieces. Because in the book, there it is, the year 10,191. 10,000 years into our future, basically, is the easiest way to look at it. Nobody remembers Earth. Like, humanity has spread amongst the stars. There's been a fucking Butlerian jihad that they didn't even go into. The Butlerian jihad is what freed humanity from the AI thinking machines that they created prior to what occurs in Dune. And it is a major aspect of the Dune world, because of the Butlerian jihad. And I understand the butt hurt fucking right wingers and left wingers that want to be like, oh, you can't use that. That's a Muslim word. You can't don't be using that word. That belongs to them sand folk. And then you got the fucking lefties like, that's cultural appropriation. You're not a Muslim. You can't use the word jihad. But it's what it fucking was. It was a mass extermination war against AI. It was the melding of the houses of humanity in their last great stand. Like, it's a major point. Do you remember them mentioning that at the beginning of the movie at all?
That I do remember.
Okay. How many times do you actually remember that being referenced?
At least 3, but I'm sure there were more before I went unconscious.
There was only 3.
There was only 3?
Actually 3.
Oh, look at me.
Do you remember them talking about the Orange Catholic Bible?
Yes. Okay. Yes, I do.
Okay.
Took me a second.
Those are 2 aspects that they were brought up as details in the movie. However, they were brought up as what I can only word it as is major minor details. It was such an inflection put out of it, and then it was just pushed off to the side. Okay, here's this. We're showing you, we're talking about the jihad. Now let's push it off to the side. We mentioned this, check it off the list. We showed a little miniature Orange Catholic Bible, check it off the list. And it's like in the actual source material, and even the adaptions, the whole stigma behind thinking machines is ever present within the world, within the universe that is Dune. And it just really feels like what we got was a very pretty taxidermied version of it. Like, someone got like a 25 point or 26 point buck, spent the good money to get it taxidermed, but threw out all the meat.
Yeah.
And I actually enjoyed the movie for what it was. I really did. I like we were talking about before the show. I use it as my go to sleep movie. You know, I for me, that's a good thing. It helps me relax. It puts me in a good place. But for Dune, that was not Dune. That was not Dune.
Do you feel that if it's more tailored to people who follow it than it is? No.
No. God, no. God, no. That fucking okay. I'm about to go into full hater mode right now, so I apologize, but it's full hater time. All right. First of all, why the fuck did they make it into Hamlet? When they're landing on Arrakis, and go if you get a chance, go back like after we're done talking, go back and watch it and look at this shit. When they're on fucking when they're going to Arrakis, it's in the trailers where they're like coming down on the spaceship and you see like Gurney Halleck, you see fucking Duke Leto, you see Lady Jessica, all in their regalia. They're wearing body armor, which we'll touch on in a second because that's going to piss me off even more. But then we have Paul, black, drab. I must stand out for I am edgy. I am your messiah. Look at me, I look different. Fucking excuse me. These are royal houses situated in a galactic political situation where it is wheels within wheels within wheels, plots within plots within plots. Why the fuck are you going to allow your only living heir to dress in a way that singles him out? Come on now. Come the fuck on. And then you... Whoo, I'm getting ahead of myself. And then we can go to the armor. Then we can move into the armor after that because that shit. We're gonna go to a planet. It's all desert, extremely hot. The biggest predator there, the only predator there, the only real animal of substance are giant subterranean worms that track vibration. Hey, let's put more metal on and go walk through the fucking desert. Are you shitting?
Tremors vibes. Getting a little
dude,
bit.
Basically, like I mean, but that's that kind of you can actually see where Tremors got it from, but it's a nod to Dune.
Oh,
coffee.
Mm-hmm. Now that makes sense.
Yeah. And it's like, but the depth that Dune lacks, and those listening to this, please forgive my autistic ADHD BPD self, but I'm jumping all over the place because that's how my brain works, and hopefully it'll be more entertaining for those that listen. In the Dune world, and this is one of the most offensive things, is that it is the Land Rod. It is a feudal democracy, basically, where you have the emperor of the known universe, Shaddam IV, Padishar Emperor of the Shaddam IV. He rules 10,000 worlds, and he's got his palace on Carino and all this other shit that hopefully they'll get into in the later movie, but they probably won't because they already shouldn't include it in the first part. Also, bear in mind that this is a book that I read, like a book series I read every year. Like I get done, I start it over. There's sometimes I read the books twice a year. Like this Chronicles of Amber, Deathgate Cycle, all kinds of good ass sci-fi that's out there. But with Dune, the Land Rod is what's important. Like when that in beginning part where the Imperial Messenger comes, which that shit was just fucking hysterical and completely waste of about $10 million designing that fucking set and all that. Because once again, why the fuck am I going to go out into the public when I am Duke Leto the Just, the most obvious and hated rival of House Carino and the Padishar Emperor himself? Hey, look at me, I'm out in the open. Fucking sniper me. Like the frustrations that go into this movie are great. But the whole representatives of the Imperial Court, that is the Land Rod. The Land Rod gives out what is known as the CHOAM company contracts. So CHOAM, Land Rod is like the House and the Senate all in one. Each planet, roughly, some are fiefdoms, some are controlled by different houses, but each house has a specific duty. Carino runs the galaxy, runs the empire, runs everything. Harkonnens, they were controlling Arrakis for a long ass time. Atreides, their rice, and can't remember it off the top of my fucking head because I refuse to be a poser and take notes. They had a rice export plus their military, thanks to the Bene Gesserit teachings of Jessica, influencing on them what's known as the weirding way, aka motherfucking ninjas, onto their army. And then you add into that the factor that it's Duke Leto the Just, and that makes Atreides stand out. They also didn't talk about Ix, which is also the ninth planet in that specific solar system. That's the source of all the Guild Highliners and the ships and the technology, the Bene Tilax, Bene Gesserits, the Mentats. Like, there's so much good detail that literally got swept under the rug for the sake of, look at this beautiful set piece. It's gorgeous. It makes you feel so small. Motherfucker, tell a story. You showing me a fucking spaceport that some little boy that not even fucking there, because that like, I need to hit my joint right quick. Give me a sec. Give me a sec. I need to hit this joint. I'm actually getting mad. Like, because there's so much that was left out that could have been lines to give depth to characters. Like when Gurney and Paul are fighting. That scene, like, one, there was no Dr. Huey there. Dr. Huey. Dr. Huey, spoilers, whatever, I don't give a fuck. Dr. Huey was the one who betrayed House Atreides. He had this major role and connection with their enemies, House Harkonnen, that he wasn't even included except in minor pieces, and there was no talk about the hatred or his wife or any reason why this person would betray his house, or even that how important he was. Like, bro, what are you doing? I'm sorry, Scary. I'm sorry. I went off really bad right there. My bad. My bad.
No, you feel free. I'm down. I'm listening. Taking it
Like,
all in. So I know what I'm looking for next time I watch the movie.
well, it's like this. All right, just to give you some depth on the characters here. Gurney Halleck escaped, what was basically rescued from the slave pits of Giedi Prime, which is the Harkonnen homeworld, by Duke Leto. And it was basically a life debt. I completely forget Duncan's travels, but Duncan's like, so Duncan is literally supposed to be the same age as Leto. And actually, no, he's supposed to be like 3 or 4 years younger, if my memory serves me right. And like 10 years at max older than Paul. They actually got that right. But Gurney, what we saw was just, I'm the best dog in the pack. That's what was seen. Because Gurney is a warrior poet. He is one of the deadliest men in the galaxy, even over Duncan, but less than Thufir Howard. Thufir Howard being the Mentat, the really light-skinned black guy that was really old and kind of had like the blind eye look and like the field marshal, short, fat dude. That was supposed to be their master of assassins. The man that you send it, basically, I got the perfect analogy for you. Duke Leto is Batman. Gurney Halleck is Nightwing, Dick Grayson. Paul Atreides is Damien. Duncan Idaho, Jason Momoa's character, that's motherfucking that's Red Hood, Jason Todd. And then Thufir Howard is supposed to be Alfred Pennyworth. He is supposed to be the dude that, oh, how about that? You actually made it inside. How adorable. And he takes you out before even fucking Duke Leto knows what's going on. He's supposed to be in his prime, a thinking machine supercomputer in a human body. because that's what a mentat is. They can also, you have a mentat, which are the regular ones that we saw with for Howard, and then on the Harkonnen side, Piter, that character, that guy is what's known as a twisted mentat, because the Benny Tylax are fucked up little individual genetic chronomancers and shit. But going back to that I'm on a tangent right here. Sorry about that. That conversation between Gurney and Paul, where they're in the trailer, where they're doing the shield fighting, and you see them both in their whites going at it. That would have been a perfect opportunity to establish a baseline between these two. With the whole, oh, well, since Duncan's not here, I'll take care of your training. No. Yes, this is sci-fi. Yes, this is futuristic. This is still a feudal household. You are the heir apparent. Everybody is responsible for raising your punk ass. So you just wouldn't have one instructor. You just wouldn't have Duncan Idaho showing you how he fights to learn how. You would be mastering not only different varieties of martial warfare tactics and combat, you would be learning various style variants of those said tactics, combat methods, etc. I mean, and it's like in real life. Let's say you and I are both trained in how to use a Springfield 1911. We went through all the classifications that are available, civilian and military. We're still going to shoot different, because you shoot in a way that's comfortable for you, and I shoot in a way that's comfortable for me. There's still the base, however, there's slight variations. You feel what I'm saying?
I feel you.
Okay. Let's make sure I don't make you fall asleep talking about Dune. But no, dude, it's like, it really gets me, man, because it's just like, as a creator, as a creative that is a picky ass motherfucker with his own work, you got to squeeze in every detail to make it an immersive environment, and pay honor to, especially if you're doing an adaptation, to those that made it possible for you to do this adaptation. Like, I get you, people want to put their own interpretations on it. Cool. This is Dune. There are no interpretations. Like, there's interpretations in the scenery, in the ships, in the weapon, etc., like that. But the plot lines, the characters, no, no, you don't, you fucking dare. And they dared, and I'm sorry, but they failed. And that Gurney Halleck scene right there is a prime example of why it failed, because you had a perfect time to illustrate the relationship between these two, even to have it be a Mufasa Simba original Lion King thing where he's like, Simba, and calls his kid over and he's scared shitless. Would have been a perfect situation. You got a blade to my neck. Oh, you think you're slick? Guess what? I may be dead, but so the fuck are you. A lesson learned with growing love between two characters in a father figure type setting, which also would have been a good way to help show this generation that it's okay to have more than one father figure, because we learn different things from more people. As I light my cigarette. I'm sorry. I know I keep apologizing for shit, and that's just how I talk. But
I was just looking it up because I wanted to know actually how it did, and apparently it did amazing at the box office. And Rotten Tomatoes, it's 82%. Not that I trust Rotten Tomatoes at all.
No, on this I do. On this I generally do. It is a gorgeous movie for what it is. It's well scripted. What we got was Avengers Endgame right off the gate, because for what it is, Avengers Endgame is a solid ass movie. It's a slap in the face to the 10 years before it, but it's a fucking solid movie.
Right.
Dune's the same way. I believe it, that there is a huge rush when you see all this. You try and, like, because it's like me me and my people, me and my guy David, and we were talking about it. Like, I didn't get a chance to go with him because old job obligations and shit like that. But prior to, we were talking about like, okay, we don't like this, the armor, let's just try. Let's just try. And for what it is, it's not bad. But that is not Dune.
Right.
That is not Dune. I mean, it's like even going like taking that little level of detail that could have been included in that conversation. I mean, I'm just gonna bypass the whole Lady Jessica having fucking breakfast at a kitchen table with her son. Excuse me? Like, did y'all motherfuckers even read the books? Did you look at a Wikipedia article? Did you understand who the fuck Lady Jessica is? And that they don't do that. Like, the Atreides don't do that. They have a dining hall that they eat in with giant bull heads and shit on the wall from the Sulsan bulls that the previous generations used to fight and kill for the entertainment of the crowd. Like, oh, I mean, dude, Okay, from there, we move to one of the saving graces of this movie. Jason Momoa as Duncan Idaho. I besides being a huge Jason Momoa fan, because in my opinion, whatever he's given, he does the best with.
Right.
He's a giant man child in the best ways. Like, you see him on like Aquaman and shit, and it's like, okay, I can see why he's getting paid $50 million now, because he's being paid to be kept in that shape. Because if you look at him videos outside, he looks like fucking Thor from Endgame, walking around with the beer belly, the ripped shoulders. He goes dad bod mode. He's like, I don't give a fuck. Let me throw some axes and build some motorcycles. Fuck this shit. And I got nothing but respect for him as a person like that. His character, the way he, like, besides the fact that they had him on the airplane, the flying around, cool. I'm sorry, but for me, Duncan wouldn't be doing that. Duncan would be planning his trip to fucking Arrakis and let's take one more flight. No, you could remove that from one of the best scenes in the book, the drunken Duncan scene. So after they get to Arrakis, I'm just breaking down the characters right now. After they get to Arrakis, they get infiltrated by a bunch of different spies in the book. They get one of them. There's a dude, basically a spy for the Harkonnen or Harkonnen, however you want to say it. They're the opposing house to Atreides, who used to have Arrakis before them. And there's this thing called a hunter seeker, where in this world there is no AI. There's close to AI, where it's not thinking yet, but it's like barely above a calculator type of thing. Even calculators are kind of shunned upon, because it's like that's actually a computer, and a little switch in here and it can start thinking. That's a no-no. And so they use hunter seekers in different like poisons and stealthy ways to kill each other instead of just straight out assault. The guy gets killed, and a letter gets dropped in by the Harkonnen or Harkonnen. I'm going to say them both ways. And Gurney thinks Lady Jessica set all this up. And it's like they're not talking about it. They're just mad at each other. And then you get drunk ass Duncan Idaho come walking in and be like, man, Gurney, shut your stupid ass up. You know she didn't fucking do it. And it's like a good like tirade of, imagine drunken Jason Momoa walking in on Batman and Superman from Justice League and cussing them both out. That's what the scene was. Literally what it was. And I'm so mad it wasn't in the fucking movie. But his character was fantastic. His action, his love of Paul, his scripting was great. It was just well done. He was one of the saving graces. Paul, Timothy, what the fuck is his last name? Scary. Timothy what?
Oh, wait, hold on. I'm gonna
Yeah, I'm
get
gonna pull
this.
it up myself.
I know who you're talking about. Oy vey.
Yeah, Timothy Chalamet.
Chalamet. Oh,
Yeah,
look at that.
yeah. Even though he was painted as a space opera Hamlet, he did a good job. He
He
really
did.
did for with what he was given. He did
From
a
what I
great job.
saw, he definitely did.
Yeah. I just opened. I'm just gonna go down the list right now since I already know who I talked about. Lady Jessica, horrible character. Horrible, 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 horrible. Lady Jessica is not a bitch like that.
Right.
And that's all she was a punk ass bitch. There was way too much. I'm concerned about my child because, all right, so Lady Jessica is a Bene Gesserit, aka uh, the Bene Gesserit are basically an evil order of Jedi nuns that control the genetic line of all the houses to create what's called the Kwisatz Haderach, the supreme being. And this also goes back into the Orange Catholic Bible, where how that was created, where it was basically uh, another Council of Nicaea. They all brought all the religions together and they cherry picked the best bits, and thus became the Orange Catholic Bible. So you got like Muslim, Hebrew, Buddhist, everything mixed in there. And the Bene Gesserit are also part of that. They're one of the people like the Guild Navigators that go and use the spice for some dope ass ways. Um, they also are masters of what's known as the weirding way. We talked about previously, aka I'm a motherfucking ninja. Oh, you want to come at me? No. Sidestep. Nope. Sweep the leg. Nope. Without wasting any breath and being unable to be seen. Like it's some shit. But the Bene Gesserit have been manipulating bloodlines throughout the fuck his basically since House Carino took over, and the Spacing Guild really came about, and they could really travel around. It's also one of the points of contention I have with the movie with Baron Harkonnen, how he's portrayed, because we'll get in that in a second. Um, but Lady Jessica is a killer. Lady Jessica is the type where she can appear meek and I'm, I just have a vagina. Do you want me to make you a sandwich? What am I supposed to do? Oh my God, is there laundry for me to fold? All up until you turn your back, and then she can release poisons within her body that come out as aerosol through her pores. Like the Bene Gesserit are the definition of fuck around and find out. Like it's been a minute since I've read the extended universe books for Dune because after Frank Herbert passed away, his son and Kevin Anderson took over. Kevin Anderson, great author, wrote the Thrawn series for Star Wars, Dark Empire, all kinds of dope shit. So Kevin J. Anderson, my bad. And they went into what the Bene Gesserit can do, and they ain't no bitches. But what we saw was a bitch. And I do not mean that to speak of just directly as a female. No, that was a punk ass bitch in the hood sense of the word. That was not Lady Jessica. Lady Jessica in the book would make Lady Jessica in that version of the movie hold her pocket. Like, disrespectful. Disrespectful. The whole she's outside crying her eyes out, weeping and vulnerable as her son is going underneath the test. And I must protect my family in the desert, so I'll use the voice this way. No. Jessica, Lady Jessica, was always a defiant ass person where she did not take shit from anybody. She would smile to your face, but at the end of the day, Jessica gonna do what Jessica wants. Um, oh yeah, but if on any one of these tangents I'm going on before I end, if you got a question about anything I'm asking, homie, ask away.
You got it.
You know, don't be afraid to jump in here. I know I talk a lot, but blame it on the coffee.
No worries. No worries.
But this is what happens when you are a storyteller. But yeah, Lady Jessica is not what we saw on the screen. Lady Jessica is the mama bear. Like she gave her husband Duke Leto, played by Oscar Isaac, fantastic portrayal. Another saving grace of the movie, but we'll get to into in a second. What we got was a disgrace. We got a literal disgrace of Lady Jessica, and I'm sorry to say. I personally hope they change it where they kill off the character in the second movie. I hope they make that change. It was that much of a slap in the face. Now, I'm looking on this on Google as I'm going down the list. Oscar Isaac as Leto Atreides the First. Motherfuckers, put some respect on his name. It is Duke Leto the Just. He is the just. He is the just for a fucking reason. Because even if you're a motherfucking spy, you'll get a merciful death. You know, he'll treat you with honor and respect, unlike any other of the great houses of the Land's Rod. Like, I have no complaints about his performance. None whatsoever. Oscar Isaac shined so brightly in this movie. What do you think?
I got no complaints about that whatsoever.
Right? Like, dude. Yeah, same here. Great. He with what he had, he did fantastic. Fantastic. Stellan Skarsgård as Duke Vladimir Harkonnen of Giedi Prime and House Harkonnen. I have been a fan of Skarsgård since I first saw him on screen so many years ago. I can't even remember. Shit, I'm gonna look at his filmography right now, see if I can remember what fucking movie I first saw him in.
Wasn't he in Deep Blue Sea?
Yes, he was the dude that
got his arm
the
bitten
dude
off.
that was smoking. Yes, I think that might have been the first. No, Hunt for Red October when he was Captain Victor Topolov and Hunt for Red. That was the first thing I saw him in.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. He fantastic actor. Fan-fucking-tastic actor. But that wasn't Vladimir Harkonnen. That was not Giedi Prime. That was another slap in the face. So that once again, I understand. I'm probably saying this quite a bit throughout this podcast. I understand the difference between book and movie and book and visual. In the book, the Baron is the definition of piece of shit. He is a rapist, philandering, pedophile, genocidal maniac. You take all of like middle age to like Renaissance England, and you mix in Nero and all the fucked up Roman Caesars, and that's the Baron. That add some Stalin in there too. You got to put Stalin, some Mao, not no Hitler. He's not that nice. Well, I mean, Hitler at least built roads for his people after butchering. Put all these people in fucking gas chambers and in ashtrays and yank out gold teeth and the rest of you, we give you roads, we give you Olympic team. Stalin, Mao, fuck y'all. Worship me, bitch. worship me. That was Vladimir Harkonnen. That is exactly how he is. Um, what we saw very limited of him, and the way he was portrayed was a slap in the face because it was such a trope of sci-fi that it was ridiculous. Like to me, it did not feel like they were um what's the word, that they weren't trying to make it a dark area like what they did for like DD Prime. Like it looked more home, or what they did for Caladan. They made it more homey feeling. They gave it a more rustic feel, which it was more medieval castle feel, but I get where they were going for. And if I was stupid, as in not even like knowing, not even talking about the source material, I'm talking about not knowing how like the creative process works behind the scenes, I would think that for Geedy Prime and all that, they are trying to leave it mysterious and you don't really need to know about all this. Yeah, no, you kind of need to know about a creature's surroundings to understand the creature fully and see the depth of how much of an evil piece of shit this person is and why you need to hate him. Not just, I'm all pale and I'm surrounded by shades of black and gray. I'm edgy. No, no, no. No, Vlad here was chosen by the Bene Gesserit as part of their breeding program. So they needed to send a Bene Gesserit to retrieve the seed. However, they do not trust, they don't trust non-biological containers, if you follow my drift. And Vladimir's gay. Like he's gay. He is the heterosexual, like like the super straight guys. He's their nightmare. He is what they worry about. Vladimir Harkonnen is the type of person that would put on a dress just to go into a bathroom and rape a child. Sorry.
Oh,
that's the character.
Yeah.
He is meant to. It's like. It's like when you start watching a World War II documentary just to see, like, you kind of get a vibe from somebody, so you put on the Hitler or the History Channel, almost call it the Hitler Channel, and you start watching your new buddy to see how excited he gets when they show like the Axis people. Like, what parts is he getting happy at? Is it the tanks? Okay, I get that. Is it the airplanes? Okay, cool. They were cool. Is it the super guns? Those are fucking dope. The concentration camps? You're a piece of shit, aren't you? Yeah, you are. That type of thing. Vlad is shit. And Skarsgård, once again, with the material he was given, did the best he could. One of his character traits was that he is very vain, very full of himself. He's a narcissist, perfectionist to the core. However, he's also infected with many, 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 many forms of STIs through his own doing and because of the Bene Gesserit. Because one of the things, like I was saying, that ties them all together is the Bene Gesserit breeding experiments. And while people aren't directly inbred, there's usually a buffer gene set in between. Like, let's say if, all right, check this out. You're in one house and I'm in another. This is fucked up, but this is how it is. Your wife is a Bene Gesserit. Her job is to conceive a daughter, and she can control her gestation of the eggs, the DNA within her body, she is so at one with herself. She can control which one of your sperm, not just male or female, but she can control the most perfect dominant sperm to be released from your body into the egg at the optimal angle where everything goes good and it's a perfect match as best as she can within the odds and probability of genetic manipulation and human control. Then that seed is also then looked at for, let's say, my future child. So at the same time, you and I are third cousins through the genetic breeding program, but we never know it. Only people who know it are the Bene Gesserit. It's fucked up, but that's how it was like a looking at how the royal houses were, but like back in the day, but like in the future. It's just how it fucking was. Like it's messed up, but you want to get a supreme being, there's one way to do it. You control the bloodlines. How do you think we got all these fucking cool looking horses and dogs? Genetic manipulation of distinct traits and behaviors and physical makeup. It's fucking weird. However, I digress. Vladimir, like there's tons of Dune. Just I'm gonna stop right here. Whoever else is still listening to this, there are a lot of Dune spoilers to come, and I shall continue. Duke or Baron Vladimir Harkonnen is the father of Jessica, Lady Jessica of House Atreides, the most honorable Lady Jessica. Lady Jessica, her mother is Reverend Mother Gaius Helen Mohiam. This occurred in the sanctioned House book series by Frank Herbert's son and Kevin Anderson. And that is because going to visit, he's a pedophile. He's a piece of shit. He's deranged and fucked up in the head beyond all measure. But that genetic material is a motherfucking one. So the most compatible from the Bene Gesserit side to create the perfect offspring was then Mother Gaius Helen Mohiam. So she goes first time, like basically tricks him into doing it. He's not happy about it. Straight busts his load inside of her, dips. Cool. They have a kid, or that kid's born. There's some fuck up in the process because Murphy's Law, shit still happens, and she has to go back. Now the Baron goes into full Baron mode and basically gets the drop on her, knowing that she's basically a Jedi ninja assassin, and decides to rape her. And I know I'm saying rape a lot in this video, but it's feudal houses. Rape happens a lot, and it's more about a definition of power in the Roman sense, like when commanding officers used to fuck each other in the ass. Like, I am over you. This is why I'm over you, because I'm fucking you. Sorry, just how it is, or how it was. But yeah, Baron decides to rape Mohiam. She takes it with a smile on her face, because with every pump of his fucked up dick going inside of her, she is releasing poisons and diseases that she is stored with inside her body right up his fucking pecker. At the same time, like taking his nut and getting what she needs, so she never has to come back. And he slowly starts getting fat, bloated, boils, sores, shit like falling, like hair falling out. So yeah, the Baron we got, that's not Baron Harkonnen. Who's next on the list? Let me see this. Stilgar. Stilgar they did good with Javier Bardem. Scary Taylor, you there?
Yeah, say it again. I'm sorry. I thought I heard
Did I
something.
put you to sleep?
No, I thought I heard my house erupting.
Oh shit. God, I love the joys of doing podcasts by Zoom, but it is what it is. But yeah, Javier, I can't pronounce his last name, but Bardem, the guy who played Stilgar.
Yeah.
Dude, I really recommend going back and watching it. Like honestly, like dude, it's. I think after once we're done, once I get through like all like just basically dragging this movie over the fucking hot coals that it deserves, like you should go back and watch it again. I think you like just fast forward. Like it's like you put me to sleep. Let's go.
I'm going to try. I promise. I will.
Honestly, dude, it's a shitty budget version, but the sci-fi miniseries, I think you dig that more because it's like Dune is too big for movies.
Yeah.
Like what we got in the theater should have been 4 hours. It should have been a 4 hour theatrical release for part one. Because like we've been talking for almost an hour right now, and I've just gotten through like maybe the first couple chapters.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's like also with the movie, it's just like off the character tip is like that, like Reverend Mother Gaius Helen Mohiam, like that's not the Reverend Mother. What the fuck was that? Like, and then fucking Thufir Howard's like it was a great casting. Like the actors are great. The actors are great. Like fucking shit, because I don't even fucking remember people's names. Sharon Duncan Brewster as Liet Kynes, Benjamin Clement as the Herald of the Change, Chang Chen as Dr. Wellington Yui. Like so good, amazing talent, handed diced fucking dumpster water for the fucking script. Like, oh, like just you're wearing armor in the desert. Why the fuck are you wearing armor in the desert? Mm. I don't get it. I do not understand it one fucking bit. It is just it's horrible. And one thing that I will be very upset about come part two is the removal of a very, very, very important piece of the story from Dune, and that is Liet Kynes. The relationship between Liet Kynes and Chani. Chani was the female, the girl with the blue within blue eyes that Paul always saw in his dreams. That
Yes.
part that
Mhm.
is the hell is pronounce her name? Zendaya.
Zendaya. Yeah.
Okay, so from what I've seen in the interviews, they didn't touch on it in any of the fucking part of the first one because it wasn't supposed to be brought up at that time. But Liet Kynes in the book was a male character. They made a female. It doesn't matter. That does not matter. What matters is Chani is Fremen. Kynes is Imperium. However, Kynes is accepted in both village and siege. That's a very important wording, because the reason why Kynes is accepted in village and siege is because Kynes is the father, or should be the mother, of Chani. They're a tribe. The Fremen are a tribal society, and so from what I've seen, they better fucking change it. They better fucking change it. Um, Chani is not related to Liet Kynes. The character Liet Kynes was one of my favorites, and I was one of those that was defending the gender swap because it doesn't matter if it's a male or female. The whole thing was that Chani and the Kynes had to be related for the Fremen integration. It just seems like they're not going to explain it at all since they killed off Kynes in the first movie. Um, but Kynes grew up on was a planetologist that traveled the stars and grew up on in some of the harshest conditions in the world and got to Arrakis and was like, ooh, I could die here in about 2 minutes. I like it. Like he like I'm using he because I know in the movie it's a female character, but in the book it's a he. He's walking around the desert comparing the different types of rocks while he's got like hundreds of fucking Fremen just like visibly watching him like, I want to kill him. He don't belong here. He's seen too much. He works for the Empire. He's the Emperor's bitch. And he's just like, we could, you know, I got some plants that we could grow here. And if you put this here, we can start getting a root. And then, you know what humidity is? Within this cave, we can start growing. And he was one of the ones that actually started helping bring about what is called the change on Arrakis, which they should get into in part 2, which we're not really going to dive into here. But dude, it's just, man, this movie just be lacking, bro. Lacking so goddamn much.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh no, go ahead.
No, I'm actually taking it all in.
Because it's like I understand people want to be. This is one thing that really pissed me off. The woke factor, like because I read the news. I'll be seeing entertainment news, and they made such a big deal about like, oh, Kynes is going to be played by a woman and a black woman. Okay, which one? Did you get a good actor, someone that understands the role and can do it properly? Yes, you did. Cool. What's your script? It's like, oh, it's shit. Yeah, we don't hate her. We hate what you did to the character. She did good, but shit. You made shit. So fuck you. And it's just such small details that they exchange for other shit. But still on the woke tip, you got 4 darker skinned, predominantly black, quote unquote, people of color, whatever else fucking label you want to put on people, chocolate skinned folk, dark skinned folk, whatever, in roles that, well, 2 of them were completely fucking useless. Like the Herald of the Change, that was a useless part. That was just set dressing. That was unneeded. And then the greatest slight was Jameis at the end of the movie. I know you slept through this.
I certainly did.
But at the end of the movie, there is a fight between a character named Jameis and Paul, the lead. It's where Paul first learns how to kill. So let me give you a little history on the Fremen. So the Fremen are the descendants of a group of people, a tribe that they saw Arrakis as their home world. And so they landed on Arrakis and basically made it their home world. No one wanted to fuck with it. All of a sudden, somebody finds out that the properties of the geriatric spice that's only found in Arrakis becomes important. The Fremen are like, fuck. Nah, these motherfucking people becoming goddamn, can't walk in the desert, drinking all the Fremen man's water, breathing all our spice air, and they go underground. They go do their own thing. Liet Kynes comes in, sees the prophecies and basically political manipulation that the church tends to do, set up by the Bene Gesserits, like mission programs. And so when all this shit's going down, not only are they already slowly starting to change the face of Arrakis, there's also the legends put in there of the voice from the outer world, where I can't pronounce the proper word, and it's Gahib, something Gahib. Sorry, I can't remember it. But Whoo, that part in the movie just popped in my head. But the Fremen are like are desert creatures, not trying to take away their humanity, but they are creatures of the desert. You could give them a city filled with spice, and they wouldn't give a fuck, and they would take your life, spilling as little blood as possible, so they could take the water from your body, because you are worth more than your weight in water, and water is the most valuable thing to them. Water is life. Spice is just a way to go about expanding one's mind, becoming one with the desert. And so the Fremen are highly disciplined from birth, where it's kind of like, and I'm speaking in a genetic fashion, not trying to talk up down upon people like that, but basically as babies, they're bred to the point where they don't cry. Like if a Fremen baby cries, it's probably going to die soon. They're that hardcore. Like the babies are used to strapping to their mother's back and basically shut the fuck up. you like, I don't know no other way of putting it. Besides, you know what I'm saying? Like, like I've read some tales of like different like Apache warrior like biographies and stuff where they talk about, or like even like during the Indian Wars here in America, where they would talk about like these warriors going to the battle with kids and shit like that. And it's just, these kids are stone cold. Like they are desert creatures. They are disciplined. They don't get angry. They don't get heated. They regulate their own fucking body temperature to preserve as much water as possible. And this is when they are ripping you to shreds with a tooth they have turned into a knife from a sandworm. So, I mean, like you've seen like ninja movies where they're hopping around all over the place, sweat dripping.
Yes.
Imagine somebody doing that and not sweating and looking at you with a calm, cold, collected gaze.
Pretty damn scary.
And then we have Jameis, the most prominent Black character in the film. And he's portrayed as an animal. He's screaming, he's shouting, he's angry. This motherfucker is in the open desert under the high sun, running around, burning, sweating, and rah, 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 rah. Excuse me. It was like the first time I watched the movie, I walked out of the theater at that point. I knew it was almost over. I didn't want to watch that. I could not watch that. The actor Babs from he's a British actor, did a lot of stuff in the BBC.
Okay.
Great fucking actor. Like dudes, this role was a slap in the face to him. I don't know whose idea it was to go down this bestial rage monster version of Jameis, but Jameis was like supposed to be betrothed to Chani, and Chani being like that bitch, like the basically she was the prom queen of her tribe. You know what I'm saying? Like she's that girl where, you know, even a couple wives have probably masturbated to her type of thing. Jameis was supposed to be hers. So if Chani is that polished and fine and disciplined and honed, and that much of the apex of the Fremen woman, aka fuck around and find out with a vagina, Jameis would be her match, the exact same. He wouldn't be, you just, oh, you, motherfucker, what the heck? Give me my motherfucking money back. Fucking bullshit. Like that pissed me off. Because, you know, there's fucking idiots out there that are going to run with it on a racist tip. Like, oh, yeah, they put a black man in Dune and they made him run around. Look at that. He's an angry beast. You know, there's some fucking idiots out there that are going to talk like that seriously.
Yeah.
And And that was such a disgrace to the character and the actor, because it's like, dude, that dude is so good. Like, I'm actually gonna give me a second. Let me open my phone back up. I'm because I know exactly which show. Yeah, on top of that, the motherfucker's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. And he went out like a bitch. Yeah.
Like a bitch.
Oh, dude, he went out like a bitch. Like he went out like a bitch. Sorry. Oh no, sorry, I was mistaking him for somebody else. But no, I remember seeing him on Law and Order: Criminal Intent. That's where I saw his ass from. So I saw Veronica Mars, The Unit, Life on Mars, Blue Bloods. Like, oh yeah, he was in Gotham too. Black Mirror. I mean, dude's talented. He's talented. I was mistaking him for a different actor that I would see on BBC One. But yeah, fucking disgraceful. Disgraceful. He could have had a better fucking character. I hope it was not him that came up with the idea to be a bestial Jameis, because that was not Fremen. I like how Luke Skywalker or Mark Hamill, when he got the script for episode 8 and basically told Roundhead Johnson, like, this isn't Luke Skywalker, this isn't Jameis.
Right.
Like this, and I, please forgive me, don't crucify me, people out there listening. I do apologize for confusing him with a different actor, but he straight up reminded me of a dude I used to see on a bunch of BBC One shit. Yeah, that character was horrible. That was one of the worst ways to end that. Like, one, they in the book, because it makes sense, and they even did it in the movie, the David Lynch movie from 1984, and they did it in the sci-fi show in the 2000s. They waited until they got to the siege. Why? Because their fight, Amtal, was a ritual. It was ritual combat. It had certain structures. Being one, you fight naked, because the still suit they wear helps regulate their body temperature. It captures all the water, urine, feces, and processes it so you can drink. It sounds nasty, but when you're living in the ultimate wasteland, you're drinking wherever the fuck you can get. They fight without still suit, and they are allowed to reclaim the water first. They won from the fight from the loser, aka the person they just killed. They're going to drink his water through a process where the body is changed, and there's details of that later. Hopefully they show it in the movie. From there, that's where they should have ended it, because if they would have waited till they got to the Cave of Ridges to have their fucking fight, it would have been dope. We'd have got to see a little glimpse, a little wanting glimpse with inside Fremen culture. Because, like, the reason why, like, because it's like in the movie, it's just brushed over, of like, it's just, you slighted me, I am mad, you have tested my honor, roar. Like, nah, motherfucker. It's more to that than that. It was the Chani thing. It was getting fucking bested, looking bad in front of Chani. The connection that instantly recognized, because both were dreaming about each other, not just Stilgar dreaming about Paul. Yeah, there's a lot of shit that went into that little scene that was completely thrown away. I don't know if they wanted to portray that character as just being like the disposable, like the red shirt, because they've turned him into such a bestial fashion, but it was not Gucci. It was not cool at all. There was nothing Jesus about that moment.
Right.
The same thing when it really felt like, just looking at like this, like talking about this, it felt like a play. Like the part, like the a housekeeper selection scene, and it's like the scenes didn't blend together. The scenes were like was like seeing a theater play. Like, now this set piece is here, so let's work off of this. Now this set piece is here, let's work off of that. There was no flow or cohesion to it. There's a character that's the housekeeper for the Atreides. It's 5 minutes of screen time. She's a major character in the book, so we're gonna turn her into a minor character. Yeah, I just burped. I don't give a fuck. That is a minor character in the movie called Shout Out Mapes. She's a Fremen. She's also very small. And in David Lynch's movie, she was played by Zelda. Fuck, what the hell's her name? Not the short lady from Poltergeist, but the short the short girl from the short woman from NCIS LA with LL Cool J. What the hell's her name?
Oh, now you're testing me.
I know you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I know you can see her.
I can.
Linda Hunt.
There
Linda fucking Hunt. Yeah, Linda Hunt actually played her in '84.
Okay.
Yeah, but once again, Fremen, chill. The whole, oh well, once you've lived with prophecy so long, once it's here, you can't help. No, motherfucker. We are Fremen. Like, kind of like in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the answer to life is 42. Or even like in Star Trek. And the reason why I love Voyager so much is the comparison of the Borg to the Fremen. Like, well, how'd you do this? How did we get here? It's like, we are Fremen. And you walk away. Like, that is your answer. Because we fucking do. Like, there is no, it's one of those like, well, how did you accomplish this? How did you, this is just, I am up and down, like, because we are Fremen. And that is your answer. And in the movie, it's like Shadow gives Jessica a Chris knife. And it's the first time you see a Chris knife, which is, it's like a short sword. It's like almost 2.5 feet long, curved, nasty. And she calls out, like, does this type thing, like scream out and shit. And it's just like, what the fuck? Like, no. Shadow don't do that. Shadow be creeping through the motherfucking Harkonnen version of Air King City, slicing throats and marking bodies for water disposal. AKA, if you're in a battle and you're mortally wounded and you think you're going to get treatment, you get a specific little cut on you, and then they take you away, kill you quickly, and turn you into water. They don't fix you. Fuck that. That was her job. She was a marker. She marked people for water. If you catch my drift. Like, these are people that would look Navy SEALs in the eyes and make the Navy SEALs flinch.
Right.
Their children would make Navy SEALs flinch. Like, there's scenes in the books, which they probably won't include in the movie, where they talk about the Fremen women throwing their children at the Harkonnen before the attack. A lot of people took it as they're just, using their babies as a distraction and then are going there and kill you. No, they're throwing their children at you because the kids are going to kill you, and then she's going to come kill the person behind you.
Yeah.
And then they're going to go back, drag your bodies away, smooth out the sand, capture your equipment, and it'll look like you never were there. But yet, we get Jameis. It comes full circle, the ranch. Like, we go from having, like, still, like, dude, Javier, fucking tastic Stilgar. Like, when I saw him walk in the room and do his usual mumbling thing, like, yep, this motherfucker read the books. Like, yeah, he read the books. He read the books. Like, my honor demands I may swear I have nothing else to say to you. It's like, oh, get him, get him to Jameis. Like, no, that actor and that character. More importantly, the actor, because the character can always be replaced in future versions, but that actor deserved better from that script.
Yeah.
Like he deserves so much better. So much better. Same with the Herald of the Change. The Herald of the Change, aka Kynes, not a totally separate character, because the Herald of the Change was also the imperial planetologist that looked over Arrakis and was in charge of everything. Because once again, with it being a feudal system, it was also a feudal system based around slash democracy and capitalism, aka the Landsrod, as previously discussed, and Chom, the giant Amazon slash Google slash whatever, the monopoly. And that's what made it so important. And they fucked up by adding in a character that was unnecessary. Once again, gorgeous, awesome actor, much love. You did a great job, but you weren't needed. You could have been a different role. That money could have been used for something else. And the way Kynes died was such a slap in the face. Such a slap in the face. Like it's just it was like we got a 2.5 hour, like an overall synopsis of this thing was like we got a 2.5 hour long trailer for a TV show. That is what we got. It's like somebody took a 12 episode TV show and turned it into a 2.5 hour long trailer.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like we got. I mean, it's just like with Kynes dying on drum sand. That's not a common thing, even on Arrakis, and they show it twice in the fucking movie. It's like it was used as a plot device, like to trigger Paul and Jessica after their escape from Harkonnen after the betrayal to run into the Fremen. And the original way that Kynes died was that she was captured by the Harkonnen and taken out to a deep desert and basically dropped in what's known as a pre-spice mass. Because once again, there's much more details with this world, the way the spice works. The spice is kind of like the residue-ish of what's left over after worms reproduce. From my understanding, and I'm sure people in the comments section are going to be correcting me and whatever, but eat my asshole. I can pull out first edition copies and start reading this shit verbatim, but I want to go up by the skin of my ass because why not stir the pot? The spice is part of the life cycle of the worm, the great sandworms of Arrakis. Basically, from what I remember, is a sandworm will die. Its body will fall apart and disintegrate, and all that shit will go into the ground, and you start growing what's called sand trout, baby worms, in a giant bubble under the sand. This turns into this changes the consistency of the sand, its color, its look, and even sometimes from what I remember, its smell, until it blows, and this is known as a spice blow. Basically, imagine you're an ant standing on one of those big bubble wrap bubbles, and then you pop it.
Yeah.
That's what happens to Kynes.
Okay.
That's how they find Kynes. After the death of Jameis, and Jessica and Paul reach the siege of Stilgar, siege to Beer, I do believe it is. And they're all getting settled. That's when they send word of a pre-spice mass and they find Kynes' body. And that's when the link is established between Chani and Kynes. And it's revealed that in the books and the movies so far, father-daughter, hopefully they changed their minds and we have father-mother. because then it makes sense. Like otherwise, it's like you have this extremely elusive tribal society that an outsider's a part of because they're dark skinned. Really?
Huh.
That's kind of racist.
A little bit.
I mean, because it's like the Fremen people, they embraced everybody. I mean, sorry to say, but it was one of those, it's how I view new people coming into my life. Why should I be friends with you? What do you have to offer? You know, I mean, even not trying to be shitty about it, but it doesn't have to be a material or physical thing. All it has to be is like a new friend of mine that I just met. Me and her, what she brings to the table, conversation, distraction. You know, you and I, we make art together. Me and Luke, we make art together. Me and G, we make art together, you know, etc. We play games and all this shit. But the Fremen are very much like that. Nothing is without purpose. So if they see a reason and you prove yourself worthy, either through marriage, combat, whatever, you're able to join the tribe. It's not just white, light skinned, and dark skinned. And I understand that, oh, well, Herbert came from this, and this is, you know, a white savior movie, and it's not a white savior fucking movie. Like the entire tale of Dune, what's called the Atreides trilogy, the story of Paul, it's not white savior. It's the drawbacks and the power of charisma and how it corrupts. Like it, oh God, when I first saw that first goddamn article on Facebook about people are calling this a white savior movie, it's not. I know I just said it, I'm going to say it again. It's not a white savior movie. It's about the corruption of power. Because you could easily recast Paul. You could recast the entire House Atreides as black folk, make the entire House Harkonnen nothing but fucking Pakistani people, and the Fremen nothing but fucking people from the Congo and Australia. It don't matter. Because the characters and the arcs are still the same. They're not affected by what we view as cultural interference, because it is an established fictional culture where A goes to B goes to C in a certain way. And it has nothing to do with being a white savior. That's a top coding. That's beyond obvious. It's there basically to distract the stupid. It's the story of power corrupting and allowing it to. And at the end of the day, when you're old, alone, and dying all by yourself, all you'll have is nothing but regret. Which is also kind of funny considering the premise that for the Atreides trilogy is also the premise for one of my favorite episodes of Doctor Who with Peter Capaldi, The Time Heist. Great episode. Because it's about regret. It's about how corruption, how at the end of the day, it don't matter. Because in the books, it goes from Paul to his kids, Leto II, who becomes God Emperor, Leto II, when he basically binds himself, being the Kwisatz Haderach, the supreme being that can be in all places at once, binds himself with the body of a worm and basically becomes a worm, a human worm. And for 10,000 years, the Great Famine sweeps across the universe. Like, it's fucked. Like, it's such a good book series, but it's unfortunately one of those that's really lost on modern art audiences visually, because it's so big in scope. People want to put it on a silver screen. which I get, even though they're wrong. But it's still not small enough really for traditional TV. Hence why if you would have made it into a show on a streaming service, it would have been perfect.
Right.
But yeah, at the end of the day, dude, it's a fucking man. Like if you don't have time to actually read and you could benefit more from audiobooks, I would highly suggest buying them off a Kindle. I would straight up buy them.
I
They
do
are
like
so
me an
fucking
audio book.
like, dude, I know you dig it. I know you would, dude. It like the politics side of it is literally like, okay, we got my friend Sarah, you, your wife, and your kids. How many kids you got? One or two?
Two.
Two. Okay. So kid number one, myself and your wife are plotting against you. Kid number two, Sarah and you are plotting against your wife with my help, while I'm plotting against kid number one, who's also teaming up with you to plot against your wife, while you three plot against Sarah, while plotting against 15 other people that we're going to bring into in the next chapter.
Oh, that sounds good.
Oh, dude, it's like, dude, you're reading some of this shit, and it's like, you sneaky motherfuckers. Because you could just like some of these conversations where it's like you see the emperor talking with members of the spacing guild, which, dude, they haven't even brought that in yet. Like the fold, like how they move around the folding of space. I mean, it's just so gangster. But like the political side with the Landsrod and the planning and the scheming, because the Baron, the Emperor, the Baron, and the Bene Gesserit are working together to remove Duke Leto the Just. The Bene Gesserit want him gone because they are worried about what's going to happen now that Jessica's made a son. The Harkonnen want him gone because back during the Butlering Jihad, Harkonnens and Atreides were allies. They were best fucking friends until the Battle of a bridge I can't remember at the end of the Butlering Jihad, where the Harkonnens betrayed the Atreides and almost lost the war, and then the Atreides basically did some big dick Black Air Force One energy type action and won the day. Been a split ever since. And then the Padishah Emperor is terrified of Duke Leto for all the reasons mentioned before, because he is Duke Leto the Just.
Right.
He's that motherfucker. He's about that life. And at the same time, the Bene Gesserit and the Emperor with the Spacing Guild are plotting against Harkonnens to manipulate more of a spice trade out of them. At the same time, the Harkonnen and the Spacing Guild are working against everybody else. Like it's fucking cool. And everybody's just sitting there like, yeah, we're all good. Yep, fuck Atreides. I'm gonna piss in your fucking wine glass. Yeah, what's up, brother? How you doing? Yeah. It's really well done. It's really cool. I mean,
Yeah.
even the like, and this movie is, like I've said, man, it for what it is, it's an A for effort. It's gorgeous. It's shittily scripted for a Dune movie and cool, but like, that's not Dune. I will not. I feel like a fucking hardcore liberal when Trump got elected, but that's not my president. That's not my movie. That's not my movie. No. I will see part 2.
We will give it A for effort.
Yes, we will.
And
go ahead.
I was going to say, what for execution though?
Fuck.
C or D? Or lower?
given, I'll say it like this: if we're going to look at execution, we have to look at who we're bringing into play. All right, let me pull up. Let me get until I get make sure I get the names right. I don't want to be I know I'm already going to get burned over the coals for a lot of things I've said in this fucking podcast, but I don't give a shit. Oh yeah, Dennis, or the French dude, Denise, can't pronounce his last name. French Canadian filmmaker. Yeah, he does a lot of the. Yeah, the dude who did. I mean, Blade Runner 2049, gorgeous movie. Once again, he also wrote and produced this. Wow, that explains a lot. That explains a lot. I would say for execution, I'm gonna have to give it a D.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to go D on this, man. I mean, actually, no, I can't do it because the casting is fucking superb, and that does give it a rank boost up. I'm gonna have to give it a C for execution, based purely on the amazing job that everybody did with the shit they were handed.
Still not bad score overall.
No, not at all. Like, I was working with After Effects the other day, and I had it on in the background. Like a lot of his shots and stuff, the visual aspects of it, it is a very gorgeous movie, and it helps one get the like different angles and shits of sweeping shots, but the substance wasn't there.
Right.
It was scraped away too much for shallow visuals. Like I want to sit down with him and be like, bro, why'd you put them in armor? Like, dude, all right. The way the combat works there is that all right, picture now like take the Landsrod, all the major and minor houses. It's like the UN. In the UN, you got like China, USSR, Great Britain, Germany, United States, etc., Canada, etc., of all like the major nations. And then you have the lesser nations around them. Same thing with the Landsrod. They all have when you become a house, you're declared a house, you have a surplus of atomics, like nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
And as a result, it's Canley, it's vendetta, it's war of assassins, it's poison wars, it's that type of shit. And like, if we're gonna fight, it's gonna be more of, we're not blowing up each other's cities. We're meeting on this battlefield, and the civilians out their way. And here's my warriors. Here's your warriors. Let's fucking do this.
Right.
And they use shield technology like we saw in the movie, which was cool. But I was kind of annoyed with the color change that they had there. Like it was kind of dumb. But no one used lasers. You didn't use lasers really, because if a laser bolt hits a fucking shield generator, it's going to cause an atomic reaction. I really like that aspect of it. And as a result, people used guns, fletchet rounds, like slugs in some instances. And oh God, like the way they portrayed the Atreides is like, it was like in these battles, dude, like the Atreides, their army was their lowest grade of their person in their army was like the best basic Marine we have to offer. Their top people are like they're good soldiers are like Navy SEALs. Like they rule by air power, by water power. They have seas, they have airships. They're badasses. Some know the weirding way, being trained in that as well. Like it just, and then like in this movie they bring in the Emperor's Soto car, which was cool because they bust out some throat singing and some straight up like futuristic Spartan type looks. It was really cool looking. Like when you sit down and watch it again, man, drink some coffee to get through the first part, and once it starts rolling and all that, it's actually a pretty good roller coaster ride. For a popcorn flick that it is, it's pretty fucking good. But
Yeah.
like going into the depth of it, man, it's too much surface, too much window dressing with not enough fucking payoff, man. Like,
Yeah.
because it's like they don't talk like there's space travel, dude. Oh my god. So like Holtzman generators, which they use for their shields, they also use for their engines. It's same. It's a mathematical principle. It's like a Pythagorean theorem type of thing. Um, it's like a version of E equals MC squared. I know I'm dumbing it down quite a bit. Don't come for me, fucking fellow Dune nerds. Okay, calm the fuck down. Um, but you're able to project a ship through space. You essentially take you move you fold space. You move without moving. Um, you're creating a Einstein Rosenberg. Is it Rosen or Rosenberg? I can't remember right now. But a wormhole, and instead of physically even moving through the entrance of the wormhole, the guild navigator ship, the Highliner, simply vanishes from one spot and appears in another. In order to accomplish this, you have what's called a navigator. A navigator is a human that is very, very good at math. Like, makes anything we got, like, would take on the best thing that DARPA has as far as AI. It would look at it and just thinking of an equation, it would burn out our AI. We can't even fuck with their base level of navigators.
Yeah.
They get trained and then they're submerged in a tank, and then they're submerged in spice. They breathe it, they live it. It mutates their bodies into like giant brains and useless bodies, and they're just floating in tanks. But not only do they have a form of presence where they can like see the future, different forms of the future, they are able to guide the navigators through space, through the spice, and be the boatman that takes you from point A to point B.
Right.
Nothing moves without the guild. This is another thing that's not touched on in the movie. You know, that like in looking at comparing it to Lord of the Rings, another epic of similar grand scale, they touched on a lot of important stuff in that first in the Fellowship that made Dune fall flat. I gotta give them a C minus. We're gonna make that a C minus. I'm sorry. They're getting a C minus on this.
Yeah. I mean, still a okay score.
It's still okay. It's definitely still okay.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I'll probably watch it again. I'll probably go see Dune 2, man. But it for what it is, dude, it was missing weight. Like what we got would be effectively just seeing Samwise Gamgee and fucking Frodo walking to Mordor with no Gimli, no Legolas, no Aragon going on the hunt for Pippin and fucking Merry.
Yeah.
Like maybe we would see them, maybe we would see them start running and then like Boromir dead.
Yeah.
Like there was like there's certain parts in the book that like they start out kind of boring, but they're the character building shit where it's like, okay, we're setting. Oh, okay. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Like I've just like for when I say that the, in the roughly hour and a half going on 2 hours that we've been talking about this, I've covered maybe 10% of what Dune is. Book one. I'm not talking about the Dune universe. I'm talking Dune, as in by itself, nothing else, just Dune. It's such a fantastic immersive world, and I hope that in my lifetime, I get to see someone do it better.
And you might. They remake things very much so all the
Oh,
time.
dude, bro, if I had the money, I'd be like, excuse me, sir. Um, I need to shame this.
Yeah.
Man, give it to me. Give it to me. Oh man, but dude, it's just it kind of makes me afraid for some of the adaptations coming out, like the Amazon Lord of the Rings one. Like I'm kind of geeked about that, but I'm also kind of scared given Dune.
Yeah,
Like I don't
that's
know,
a whole
man.
other video.
Oh, dude, where is Tom Bombadil? You left
Yeah.
out Tom Bombadil, fuckers.
At that note, I think that's a good place to leave it for now.
I agree. I agree. I agree. Well, thank you all very much for sitting down and listening to this long ass rant by myself. Once again, I'm Joseph P. Hutchinson.
And I am Scary Teller, and I promise I will not fall asleep for our next podcast. Movie, whatever we review, I will be awake for it, and I will give my honest opinions and what I feel as well. I promise.
Right on, brother. All right. Well, we'll see you next week.
Take care, guys.